Commander Elias Kane stared at the flickering console, his jaw tight as the streams of data scrolled faster than any human eye could follow. Mars hung outside the viewport, a crimson globe streaked with the pale dust storms that never ceased. He had seen enough to know something was wrong, though he couldn't yet put a name to it. Deep space signals usually whispered secrets of distant stars, not forewarnings of annihilation. But tonight, they were screaming. "Commander, the signal's pattern is repeating," Lieutenant Marcus Hale said, leaning over Kane's shoulder. His voice was steady, but the tension in his stance betrayed him. Hale had trained for countless simulations, but simulations had never prepared him for messages that carried the weight of a death sentence. "It's not random. Someone or something is deliberately communicating." Kane rubbed the bridge of his nose, recalling every mission that had gone sideways. "We've monitored anomalies before. This is different. The cadence that's too precise. Too calculated. Get Dr. Arden online. I want a full analysis in 20 minutes. Dr. Lyle Arden's image flickered onto the holoscreen, the xenobiologist's expression alight with curiosity and anxiety. Arden had the kind of obsession that made Kane uneasy, always reaching for the unknown, sometimes at the expense of caution. "Commander, I've seen patterns like this in ancient probes," he said, voice taut with excitement. "But this isn't exploration. This is a transmission from an organized force. Whatever it is, it's coming toward us." Hale scoffed. "Coming toward us? From where, exactly? The outer rim? A rogue comet? Mars doesn't even have eyes to see past the belt without sensors." "Outer rim or not," Arden interjected, "it's not a coincidence. The signals are structured, repeated in 3-second intervals. These are coordinates, velocity vectors, and possibly warnings. Something is converging on the inner planets, and they know we're here." Kane's fingers hovered over the console, calculating, weighing, anticipating. "And you think they're hostile?" "I don't think," Arden said. "I know. There's a pattern to their logic. It's aggressive, methodical, and he hesitated, swallowing hard. It's far beyond our current defensive capabilities." A heavy silence fell over the control room. Outside, Mars rotated slowly, indifferent to the fate of the men aboard the orbital station. Hale's hand tightened into a fist. "You're saying we're sitting ducks. And what? We just wait for them to arrive?" "No," Kane said sharply. "We don't wait. Humanity doesn't wait." He exhaled slowly, trying to push down the gnawing fear at the pit of his stomach. "We strike first. If they intend to conquer, we make them regret it before they reach Earth." Arden's eyes widened. "Preemptive strike? Commander, we don't even know what we're dealing with. This could be suicidal." "Maybe," Kane admitted, "but inaction guarantees our extinction. We're the only variable we control." Hale stepped back, crossing his arms. "So, what's the plan?" "Build a fleet overnight." Kane's gaze hardened. "We adapt what we have. Mining vessels retrofitted for combat. Drone swarms. Mars' own orbital defenses. We turn every advantage into a weapon. This is about survival, not heroism." Arden leaned closer to the console, scanning data streams with feverish intensity. "I can predict their approach vectors. I can map their possible formations. If we strike near the asteroid belt, we might catch them off guard." Kane nodded. "Good. You, Hale, get the fighters ready. Arden, prep every simulation and trajectory we have. We need every advantage, and I mean every one." The younger officer hesitated. "And what about the colonies? We can't risk civilian lives on Mars." Kane's eyes softened momentarily. "We protect them, Hale. That's priority one. But understand this. Some sacrifices may be unavoidable. Humanity doesn't survive by hiding. It survives by acting." As they spoke, the signal pulsed again, stronger this time, hammering the orbital station sensors with raw intensity. Kane's stomach sank. The fleet was closer than they had anticipated. The numbers flickered across the display, ships the size of small cities, moving with an unnatural precision. Every instinct in Kane's body screamed that the coming conflict would be unlike any war humanity had faced. Hale exhaled sharply. That's impossible. We don't have the firepower for that. Not now, not ever. Then we become smarter, Kane said quietly, almost to himself. Faster. Deadlier. Unpredictable. That's the only way we win. Arden's fingers danced over the holographic keyboard. I'm seeing weaknesses in their energy signature. EMP-based attacks might destabilize their systems. But it's experimental, untested. Then we test it, Kane said. Tonight, we prepare. Tomorrow, we act. Humanity ends this threat before it reaches Earth. We end it on our terms, or it ends us. The three men exchanged glances, the weight of the task settling in. Hale's jaw clenched, Arden's hands trembled with anticipation, and Kane's eyes remained fixed on the data, the calm before the storm. Outside, Mars rotated silently, unaware of the first shots of humanity's desperate gambit being prepared in its orbit. A sudden alarm pierced the control room. The sensors had detected movement beyond the asteroid belt. Shadows, massive and deliberate, were entering the solar system. Kane's grip tightened on the console. They're here, he said, voice low and resolute. And they're faster than we thought. The room fell silent, except for the humming of the station. Humanity's first encounter with an alien force of unimaginable scale had begun. The human fleet assembled quietly in the shadow of the asteroid belt, the vast silence of space punctuated only by the soft hum of engines and the occasional alert ping from sensors. Commander Elias Kane hovered over the tactical console, eyes scanning dozens of readouts that showed both promise and peril. Every ship, retrofitted from mining vessels and cargo haulers, carried humanity's hope, or its last gamble. Lieutenant Marcus Hale strode past the line of fighters, inspecting each craft with meticulous precision. These aren't warships, he muttered, his voice carrying both frustration and determination. They're converted laborers. We're asking them to dance with death, and these pilots, they trust us to guide them. They'll adapt, Kane said, his tone clipped but resolute. Human ingenuity doesn't need luxury ships or perfect odds. It needs focus, timing, and resolve. That's what we have. Hale's eyes narrowed. I hope you're right, because if we fail, there won't be a second chance. Meanwhile, Dr. Lyle Arden crouched over a holographic display, tracing the alien fleet's probable vectors with painstaking care. Commander, he said, tapping the projection, their formation is highly structured, predictable once you see the logic. Biomechanical vessels, optimized for efficiency and speed. They're strong, but they're not invincible. EMP pulses could destabilize their systems if we strike in the belt. Kane leaned forward, studying Arden's calculations. And you're confident this will work? I'm confident it's our only shot, Arden replied, fingers flying over the console. We can disable their lead ships and force the rest into disarray. But the timing has to be perfect. Kane straightened. Then we make the timing perfect. He summoned the fleet commanders into a briefing. The room, dimly lit by the glow of the starfield outside, carried a tension that matched the stakes. Every man present understood the magnitude of what they were about to attempt. Listen carefully, Kane began. The aliens are advanced, yes, but they rely on predictable formations. That's our advantage. Arden has identified their weakness. Energy pulses can destabilize their circuits. Our plan is simple. We strike first, target the lead vessels, and use the asteroid belt as cover. We hit hard and fast. No hesitation. Failure is not an option. Hale stepped forward, gesturing toward the flight maps. Commander, if we split the fleet into two groups, one to engage directly, the other to flank using the belt's gravity wells, we can maximize the EMP effects and minimize exposure. Kane considered the suggestion, then nodded. Agreed. You take the flanking squadron. Arden, you coordinate EMP deployment. Timing is everything. The pilots moved to their crafts, a silent procession of human determination against the void. Hale climbed into his fighter, checking systems and weapons. This is insane, he murmured. We're not soldiers in the traditional sense. We're improvising against an enemy built to annihilate worlds. Kane's voice came over the comm. Improvisation is what makes us dangerous. Remember, no machine can predict the human mind. Exploit that. Minutes later, the first alien scouts appeared on sensors, sleek and greenish, moving with unnerving precision. Arden's calculations lit up the displays: velocity, trajectory, and structural weak points. Kane's fingers danced across the controls, coordinating the fleet's approach. The silence of space was replaced with the low rumble of engines, and then the calm before the storm was shattered by the distant glow of alien energy pulses. Hale led the first wave, weaving between asteroids while firing targeted EMP bursts. The alien vessels flinched as circuits sparked along their hulls, momentarily disoriented. Kane's flagship launched volleys of makeshift missiles, each strike designed to disable rather than destroy, maximizing chaos within the alien formation. Arden's voice rang in every pilot's ear. Aim for the joints. Overload the energy nodes. The battle was swift, brutal, and precise. Despite their limited numbers and inferior firepower, humans adapted on the fly, exploiting every opening, predicting alien maneuvers. For the first time, Kane allowed himself a grim smile. Humanity was proving it could survive against impossible odds. But the victory came at a cost. Several human fighters exploded in the void, Hale watching comrades disappear into the black. "We can't lose like this," he muttered, fists clenched. "Not now, not ever." Arden's voice was tight with tension. "The EMP worked, but only temporarily. They'll recalibrate if we don't finish the job." Kane's gaze hardened. "Then we finish it. Every strike counts. Every human here counts." As the lead alien ship faltered under the EMP's effect, it became evident. The humans had achieved something no one had thought possible. They had disrupted an advanced alien fleet before it could threaten Earth. Yet Kane knew the victory was incomplete. The main fleet was still out there, regrouping, learning, adapting. The temporary lull was not peace. It was the calm before an even greater storm. Sensors flared again, an unmistakable signature of massive alien warships emerging from the outer rim. Hale's eyes widened. "Commander, they're coming. And they're faster than we anticipated." Kane's jaw tightened. "Then we prepare. Humanity strikes first, yes, but the battle is far from over. This is only the beginning." Arden leaned over the console, tracing new vectors. "If we act quickly, we can force them to commit to the asteroid belt, where our advantage is greatest. We have one shot to cripple them before they reach Mars' orbit." Hale nodded grimly. "Then we take it. One chance, one fight, one human spirit against the impossible." Kane stared out at the stars, the glint of distant alien ships reflected in his eyes. "Let them come," he muttered. "We'll meet them on our terms. Humanity doesn't wait to be conquered." The fleet moved as one, a mixture of determination, fear, and ingenuity. Ahead lay the first clash with a superior force, and behind it, the survival of two worlds. Somewhere beyond the asteroids, the aliens advanced, unaware that humanity was already prepared to challenge them in ways no machine could anticipate. The alien fleet loomed over Mars, massive shadows against the red planet's surface, moving with a precision that made human hair stand on end. Commander Elias Kane stood on the bridge of his flagship, jaw set, eyes flicking between displays that showed the alien vessels in intricate formations. The asteroid belt had delayed them, but now there was nowhere to hide. Mars itself would become the battlefield. "Commander, their energy readings are off the charts," Lieutenant Marcus Hale reported, voice taut. "These ships, they're not just fast, they're adaptive. They'll learn from every maneuver we make." Kane's fingers drummed the console, a slow rhythm of concentration. "Then we force them to learn from the wrong things." "Arden, status on the EMP arrays." Dr. Lyle Arden's face appeared on the comm screen, pale and tense. "Ready, Commander. I've synchronized them with our orbital drones. Timing is critical. One misfire, and we risk losing the entire belt advantage." Hale gritted his teeth. "Commander, The civilians on the colonies, if we move too aggressively, we put them in the crossfire. Kane's gaze was cold but unwavering. We protect them, Hale. That's why this has to work. We can't afford half measures. Humanity survives by taking calculated risks, not by waiting for mercy. The first shots echoed across Mars' orbit, alien vessels firing with lethal accuracy. Human fighters darted between craggy formations, weaving in impossible patterns, guided by Hale's commands. Kane's flagship released its first volley of EMP-tipped missiles. The lead alien ship shuddered as circuits overloaded, sparks arcing across biomechanical hulls. Arden's voice rang through every channel. Now, focus on the joints. Disrupt their energy nodes. The effect was immediate. One massive alien vessel veered off course, spinning helplessly before tumbling toward the Martian surface. Kane allowed himself a brief surge of triumph. Humanity could fight back. But the victory was tempered by cost. Several human ships had already been destroyed in the initial assault. Hale executed daring maneuvers, leading squadrons into tight formations around the aliens. "They're faster than us," he muttered, "but they're predictable under pressure. Watch their response patterns, exploit their instincts." On the surface, Arden's drones darted among the incoming landing pods, sabotaging them before they could deploy troops. The alien designs were elegant, biomechanical, but utterly unprepared for human improvisation. "Each pod we disable buys us time," Arden said grimly. "Time is the only thing standing between us and annihilation." Kane's mind raced. He saw patterns in the chaos, possibilities in the destruction. "We need a decisive strike. Hale, draw their flagship toward the Valles Marineris Canyon. Arden, prep EMP resonance for maximum disruption. We hit them there or Mars falls." The plan was audacious, almost suicidal. Hale's jaw clenched. "You're asking us to lead them into a trap the size of a continent." "Yes," Kane said simply. "And we'll make it work. Humanity doesn't negotiate with extinction. We act." The alien flagship, a hulking vessel glowing with bioluminescent energy, advanced as if sensing Kane's intent. Human fighters harried it relentlessly, dodging laser volleys, coordinating strikes with precision that bordered on instinct. Arden's calculations flowed into the EMP network. The moment came, a synchronized release of energy that rippled across alien circuits. Sparks cascaded along the flagship's hull, systems faltering under the human assault. Kane held his breath as the flagship veered toward the canyon, crashing against the Valles Marineris cliffs. Explosions erupted across its hull, a greenish light reflecting off the Martian dust clouds. The smaller alien vessels, now leaderless, faltered and scattered, giving humans the advantage. Hale exhaled sharply, voice tight. "We did it, but they're not finished." The main fleet could still regroup and return in greater numbers. Arden's fingers hovered over the console, analyzing residual alien energy. The EMP worked, but only temporarily. They're adaptive. If we don't strike fast, they'll recover and retaliate. We've only delayed the inevitable. Kane's expression hardened. Then we prepare for the next wave. Victory is ours today, but we cannot afford complacency. Every human here, every resource on Mars, every ounce of ingenuity counts. We've proven we can fight, but the war is far from over. Hale nodded reluctantly, a mixture of pride and fear in his eyes. "You lead us through impossible odds, Kane. I still don't know how we survive this." "By being human," Kane replied. "By thinking, adapting, and refusing to surrender. That's why we're alive while superior machines falter. That's why we win where logic alone would fail." Outside, the Martian sky was lit by the glow of burning alien ships, the canyon echoing with detonations. Smoke and dust spiraled in slow-motion chaos, a testament to the fury of human ingenuity. Yet Kane knew the momentary triumph was fragile. The alien survivors were still out there, regrouping, analyzing, preparing to strike back with lessons learned from humanity's tactics. "Commander," Hale said, voice low, "they're transmitting a signal. I can't decipher it, but it's deliberate. They've noticed us." Kane's jaw tightened. Then they know we exist. And now, they'll come faster, smarter, more lethal. But we'll be ready. We always are. Arden looked at the displays, exhausted but resolute. If we can learn from them as quickly as they learn from us, we can survive this war. But only if we continue to innovate, continue to act before they anticipate it. Kane's hand rested on the console, steadying himself against the weight of responsibility. Then humanity adapts. We do what no machine can. We anticipate, we improvise, we endure. Mars is ours to defend, but Earth waits. And the war is only beginning. From the canyon rim, the human fleet regrouped, battered but unbroken. The alien threat for now was held at bay. Yet as sensors flickered with residual signals from the scattered fleet, Kane knew one truth above all. Survival was not victory, and the real test of humanity had yet to come. The dust of Vias Marineris still hung in the Martian sky, mingling with smoke and sparks from the wreckage of alien ships. Commander Elias Kane stood on the bridge of his flagship, hands gripping the railing, eyes scanning the horizon. The fleet had survived, but the cost was etched into every display. Lost pilots, shattered vessels, and the knowledge that this victory was temporary. Lieutenant Marcus Hale approached, his jaw tight, boots clanging against the deck. "We held them off," he said, almost to himself. "But I keep thinking, what if they come back? Stronger, smarter?" Kane didn't answer immediately. He watched the tiny dots of remaining alien craft retreat into the void. "Then we'll meet them again," he said finally. "Stronger, smarter, faster than before. But this time, humanity has the advantage of experience and ingenuity. That is something no machine can replicate." Hale's shoulders relaxed slightly, though the tension remained. "And the colonies? The civilians? They're safe for now," Kane replied, his voice steady but weary. "Mars has scars, but it stands. Humanity survives because we adapt, not because we wait for mercy." Dr. Lyle Arden joined them, his face streaked with grime and sweat, yet alight with a fierce excitement. "Commander, the data we recovered, it's incredible. Even damaged, their technology offers insights we could never have imagined. If we study it carefully, we can anticipate the next wave, maybe even develop defenses that will make us untouchable." Kane gave a faint nod, appreciating Arden's enthusiasm, yet aware of its limits. "That knowledge is a tool," he said. "It doesn't fight the battles for us. Courage, decision, and the human mind do. That's why we've survived this far." Hale glanced toward the viewport, where Martian dust swirled around broken alien vessels. "I still can't believe it. Against all odds, we actually won." Kane allowed himself a brief, controlled smile. "We didn't just win. We survived an impossible enemy. Humanity's not perfect, but it's relentless. That's why we'll endure long after others fall." Arden crouched over the console, pulling up holographic schematics of the alien ships. "We can reverse engineer their energy systems. Even a partial understanding could give Earth a strategic edge. If they return, we'll be ready." Hale's eyes softened, his tone reflective. "You know, Kane, I doubted your decisions before the first strike. I thought you were reckless. But you were right. Humanity doesn't wait. We act. And that's what saved us." Kane's gaze drifted to the horizon beyond Mars, where the pale light of the sun reflected off distant asteroids. "Leadership isn't about being right all the time," he said quietly. "It's about making choices when failure is the only alternative to inaction. Every human here accepted that risk. That's what makes them heroes." A silence fell over the bridge, the kind that comes after survival, heavy with exhaustion but light with resolve. Kane looked at Hale and Arden, two men who had become extensions of his will, yet individuals with their own strengths and fears. Humanity had faced extinction, and in that crucible, they had discovered the edge that separated survival from annihilation. The alien survivors were still out there, beyond sensors' reach, but Kane did not fear them. "They'll regroup," yes, he said, "but they'll remember what they faced here. Humanity's warning is clear. We end threats before they reach our world. That is the difference between conquerors and the conquered." Hale exhaled a long, tension-filled breath and then straightened. Then we rebuild, prepare, and ensure that humanity never faces another surprise like this. Exactly, Kane replied. Mars is only the beginning. Earth will benefit from what we've learned. Our colonies will grow stronger. Our fleets more capable. And when the next threat arrives, humanity will not only survive, it will triumph. Arden looked up from his console, eyes bright with purpose. We've already begun. The data we recovered, the tactics we developed, it's a foundation. We can create a defense that no alien could predict. We've seen what works, what fails, and what humans are capable of. The three men stood together, silent, watching the remnants of the battle drift against the Martian skyline. Sparks from alien wreckage glimmered like distant stars. The human fleet, battered but unbroken, floated above them, a testament to ingenuity, courage, and sheer willpower. Kane's voice, low and resolute, carried through the quiet. We ended this threat before Earth could fall. And that is why humanity endures. Not by waiting, not by surrendering, but by acting when the impossible demands it. We adapt, we innovate, we survive. And we fight. Outside, the last alien vessels slipped beyond the edge of sensor range, a faint trail of energy marking their retreat. Kane turned to Hale and Arden. Today, we've won. Tomorrow, we prepare for whatever comes next. Humanity never sleeps. Humanity never surrenders. Humanity survives because we must. Hale placed a hand on the railing, staring out at the distant stars. And if they return, then we'll meet them again, Kane said, voice steady. And we'll be ready. The three men watched as the Martian dawn painted the horizon with pale light. Broken alien ships glimmered in the fading dust clouds. The battle was over, for now. Humanity had survived, and in that survival lay the seed of dominance. They had proven that the human mind, the human spirit, and the relentless drive to endure were weapons far deadlier than any alien technology. And in the quiet after the storm, Kane, Hale, and Arden knew one truth above all. Humanity did not wait to be conquered. Humanity conquered fear itself, and in doing so, had written the first chapter in a war that the universe would never forget.